Well, it's early summer. It's time to get out and do some scouting and see where I'm going to put my tree stands. So today we're going to take a look at the climbing tree stand and why I think that's probably the best tree stand for a survivalist or a prepper to have. Let's get right into it. Okay, so this is going to be the basic setup for a climbing tree stand. Now today I'm not addressing safety systems or harness systems or anything like that. This is really just going to look at the basic climbing tree stand and how it can be valuable for a survivalist or a prepper, and kind of how you use it to go ahead and get up a tree. So the first thing you want to look for when you're looking for your place to hunt and doing your pre-season scouting and that kind of thing is going to be a tree similar to this that has plenty of good size, that is definitely alive. It has a straight trunk and not a lot of branches in the way that you have to cut out of the way or anything like that. Ideally, what I'm going to be looking to do is try to get my stand up around 15 to 20 feet or more. You know, the higher you get, the better you are as far as your scent goes, and also it gives you a better view and all that kind of stuff. So anyhow, one thing you may notice is that the bottom platform is at an angle right now, and you want to start out that way. And the reason is because the tree is wider down here at the base than it is when you get up higher. And so as that tree gets smaller and more narrow, then this platform and this platform will both start to level out. Okay, so you got to make sure that your platform starts at an angle. Anyhow, let me go ahead and hop in this thing and start climbing, and we'll talk a little bit more. All right, now what I do is I raise this up nice and high, and I kind of give it a good test pull, and then I'll go ahead and hop up in. Now I'm going to slide my foot and get it back behind the elastic cord and then down into my foot loops. Then I'll lower this. I'm going to go ahead and set it in place, and I can lean back onto it. This basically works with leverage. So as I pull this one up, just maybe 6 to 8 inches at a time, and I can go ahead and pull the next one. And before you start to move it around, you want to make sure they're both set in place really well so it doesn't slip or slide. And just take little steps. You don't want to be in any hurry. That's why we do this in pre-season scouting. That way, we don't have to worry so much about cleaning the tree and all that kind of stuff out on the day of the hunt, because it just makes too much noise and all that. I'm going to drink. Now ideally you want to use trees that have a pretty substantial bark on them. Trying to get trees that have a really smooth and hard bark, these kinds of stands don't really work that well on them. So oak trees, maple trees, those kind of trees with that kind of bark actually work pretty good. Okay, so some of the obvious benefits for a climbing tree stand like this for a prepper or for a survivalist are that it's extremely mobile. You can go out and you can scout your area for a lot of different areas that you want to hunt in, and you can prepare the trees ahead of time, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. You just take your stand home, and you you're ready to hunt, then you go out and you start hunting, and you bring your tree with you. So it's just really awesome in the way that it's so mobile. And to come back down, you just do it the opposite. The main thing is make sure that your foot platform is very good and stable before you set your weight on it. You don't want it to shift, move around. And once you're down to the ground, go ahead and bring the top one up high again. And that will give you something to hold on to when you come down off. So it's pretty straightforward. This is what a tree stand is going to look like when it's all leveled out. And I couldn't really get a good angle for you to see how to tighten this down to the tree when I was up there. So I'm kind of going to show you that down here. And basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take some additional straps that come with the stands. And obviously you're going to go with your manufacturer's instructions on how to do this. But the point is that you need to make sure that this is tightened down so that it's not going to go anywhere and that it's going to stay in place. You've got it nice and level, you'll have your weight on it, which is also going to help. But because some trees are kind of slick and they have some bark and things that just, it can be a little bit tricky, you want to make sure that you go ahead and tighten that down in place like that. And it doesn't have to be extremely tight. You just got to make sure that this is really holding on, pretty good so that it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, and you'll do that on both of these. Okay, and that's just going to keep it, relatively in place. Now again, you want to make sure that it's level both this way, forward and backward, but you also want to make sure it's level this way. You want to make sure you got a good bite into the bark and that it's sitting, nice and comfortable. The other thing is you want to have a nice distance between your seat right here that you're going to sit on and your platform. So you want your knees to be about 90 degrees. Okay, you don't want it to be too high or too low because it's going to be uncomfortable then. And you need to be able to stand up fairly easily to make your shot if you're using a bow. If you can do it sitting down, then that's great too. But typically you're going to probably want to stand up. So the next thing is if you have an adjustment where you can scoot this out so that you have more leg room, then you want to go ahead and do that as well. And I think that's pretty well it. If you've got your equipment with you, you're going to have a safety harness. You're also going to have, you're also going to want to have, your backpacking kit that's got all your field cleaning equipment, your survival gear, and all that kind of stuff in it. And then you'll have a pull rope as well that you can pull your backpack and your bow up with you afterwards. You don't want to try to wear these or carry these when you're doing this. It just makes it too cumbersome. So you leave those on the ground, hook a nice little rope onto it, and then hook it, I hook it up to the top stand, the top part of the stand. And the reason is that way it's easy to grab and then you can just pull it right up and you can get everything set in place. Usually what I'll do is I'll just strap my bag around the tree itself and just let it hang there, and it just adds a little bit more camouflage in the area there. The other thing you can do that you can add as far as a safety concern goes is it's not a bad idea at all to make sure that you have a strap or a piece of string that just ties to the top one and then ties to the bottom one. And it only needs to be about 5 to 6 foot long or something along those lines, maybe even 3 to 4 foot, just depending on your height and whatnot. And that way, if the bottom stand were to slip and fall for some reason while you were sitting on the top one, then it can't go too far and you're still hooked to it. So that way you can pull it back up, you can get it restabilized, and you can continue on your way. Okay. So anyhow, that is just a quick look at kind of how to use a tree stand, a climbing tree stand. And I think that these are really good tools, hunting tools, and I consider hunting to be a part of preparation for me, because if, God forbid, if I ever did have to hunt for my family to provide food and all that kind of stuff, we'd probably all lose a little weight, but I want to be prepared and have the things that I need to have to do that. And I think that a climbing tree stand is one of the best things for that situation, because you know, if you're a prepper and you believe in you know, the chance that there could be some kind of a problem with society or something along those lines, you know, or just a natural disaster or who knows what that could cause you to have to rely on hunting for at least a portion of your food, then you don't really know for sure where you're going to end up hunting, because you don't really know the situation, okay? And that's why I think these kind of stands are pretty awesome, because they're so portable. You put them on your back, you can carry them wherever you want to go, and you don't really have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about being able to get back to that exact hunting ground that you had. You don't have to be you know, so concerned with people taking it, people moving them, you know, with ladder stands and other kinds of stands that you build into a tree or you put into a tree, you hang permanently, you know, people can take them. And the other thing too is that you can also have, you know, with tree spikes and, you know, putting in steps and all that kind of stuff, you damage the trees and the environmental concern and all that jazz. So these are just really pretty cool. I mean, they do a little bit of damage to the bark and stuff on the exterior, but they don't really do any kind of lasting damage. It doesn't do anything to them that really hurts the trees. So anyhow, that's just kind of it. I'm kind of rambling on, but just kind of wanted to show you guys this. This is about the time of year that you want to go ahead and get out, do your pre-season scouting, and you know, get some trees prepared. And when you do that and you trim the branches off and you got the tree all nice and ready to go, then you want to go ahead and make sure you mark the tree. You know, they make some little reflective dots. Mark your path into and out of the tree, or use some marking tape. You know, the orange surveyor's tape or something along those lines. That way you can find the tree when it's time, you know, to come back out and do some more hunting. All right, now once you pull them down out of the tree, they kind of nest in together like that, and they are all one compact little unit. And it's got some backpacking straps that you can kind of just use to throw it right up over your back and carry it out to your stand. Some of them, there are other types, other brands. I think this was a big game tree stand or something like that. And then they've got like the old man tree stands. They've got just a ton of different ones. And this one, I got this one because it's super heavy duty and it will hold a big guy like me. So anyhow, that's just kind of what it looks like when it's all packed away. So anyhow, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. And just real quick before I go, I wanted to do a shout out to Lance and Jordan at Hijack 86. Hijack 86 is a really cool channel. You know, there are some guys that live out in the Midwest, and they're former Army grunts, which is hard to imagine that they have a lot to offer, being that they're in the Army, but they actually do. They've got a lot of really good insight and really good knowledge on guns, firearms, and that kind of thing. I've watched a bunch of their videos. They're in the Guns, Guts, and Glory network with me, and I think they do a really good job. So I think you guys would enjoy their channel. If you like my channel, you're going to like their channel. We're not exactly the same. They do some, you know, more shooting and more long distance, long range shooting and those kinds of things. But you know, they're good guys. So anyway, if you get a chance, head on over to their channel and click the subscribe button. Let them know I sent you over there, and you know, that'd be cool. So anyhow, guys, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video here shortly.